for us in UAE as a culture, if procurement was not even there as a field for you to study it.
I'm so excited about today's guest. He's a procurement and strategy leader with background in the corporate world and the startup world. So he's actually built the procurement strategy from the ground up, and he's helped companies add value, save cost, and grow even further. Beyond the numbers, he regularly speaks about what makes a great manager and a strong team. He brings together a unique perspective of money, strategy, and people, and how when they come together, they help drive the growth of UAE's fast-paced business landscape. Abdulhadi, you've spent a lot of time in big corporates in the UAE, and you've built procurement strategies from the ground up. Now your focus is on the startup world, where probably a lot of these strategies are blank and need to be built. How was that experience for you?
Well, when you are building a procurement from zero, right? It's a blank paper, where means that you can design the process in the way that suits your requirements, and in a modern way you can apply all the past learnings that you faced in your career. But it also means you have to build everything from scratch, so it's going to take time. It will happen over a phases. It can't happen just over days or over weeks, so that won't be possible. In large organizations where already there is established process, there is already established structure is there for you to work within it. That can be helpful because you already have a team and everyone is responsible to do something, and there are the right tools to help you with that. But it also means you are dealing with legacy, right? There is already legacy system that there might be resistance of change, and sometimes that it's outdated. So you want to apply something new technology, but there will be some resistance from the team because they have been working on something that's been there for many years. So starting something from scratch is exciting, and it gives you more flexibility, but you need to build the trust first and then the structure.
Okay.
And inheriting a mature setup gives you a foundation to work on, but you need to focus on improving and modernizing it. But in a startup, that's you have more flexibility to build your own thing from scratch.
So, when you look at the startup world, what do you think are a couple of policies and processes that startups should build to have an effective procurement function?
In the early days of startup, you don't need lots of complexity, right? You need to
Right.
make it simplified one. So I would say it comes in three main points that you can focus on. A basic purchasing policy where you have more or flexibility that every individual knows what to buy and who's going to approve it, but not in a complex way. It needs to be very simplified to avoid the confusion or make it a very complicated one. Second one is a simpler way to onboard your vendors, so you don't have to do lots of KYC and lots of documentation. Just the basic one you can start with: the trade license, VAT certificate, their banking details, the details, that the basic thing that you need, to, because these things gonna help you later on when you're gonna have a proper system in place. These basic documents will be your something to start with. Third point is
Mm.
to have at least a basic some spend tracker for you,
Okay.
even if it's just a spreadsheet. That because the management want to know what you are spending and
Right.
with whom you're spending. For startup, that's very important point, because the goal is to control how to spend and who's going to approve it, but keep it a lean and very simple one.
I came across a post where you wrote about the power of thank you, and it really struck me. I think this is a very important point that you've raised. Why do you think managers and bosses overlook such a simple act?
It's an interesting one because I think the leadership usually are over looking into this. because they get tied up in meetings, they tied up in targets, they tied up in goals that they need to achieve, and obviously report to the boards and all this, and forget that there are people who's doing their job. Sometimes they
Yeah.
just don't do that job, they just go beyond and they just go extra miles. So saying thank you, it doesn't take so much time, but
Yeah.
it gives huge impact to the individual, because it shows that they are being evaluated, and they are looking at as individual asset of the organization, and it gives them motivation, and it brings a good healthier culture. So the irony is, many of the leaders and this management team, they assume that their team knows that they are important to the organization, but in reality, uh, it needs to be said to them that yes, you are important to us. uh, I would say it slightly, a little bit loudly, but genuinely.
Other than salary and promotions, what are employees looking for when they join a company?
In my past experience, I feel that there are 3 points that the employee will consider and look for when he's reporting to a manager. First is the trust. The employee wants to be trusted, and not necessary that he needs to be micromanaging the employees that who are reporting to him, because it gives them more of relief that they have the right, and they have the the tools are there to do their job, so you don't have to be on top of their head every day and every minute. Second thing is clarity. They want to know exactly what they need to achieve, so if it's been told to them very clearly, so he's not surprised or she's not surprised at the end of the year when you're doing the performance review with them. Oh, I wasn't told that this is part of my job. So clarity is something that important for them to grow and to achieve what is expected from them. Next one is very important. I guess it's the respect. So you mean it means you need to treat everyone fairly and recognize them for their work. Again, as I said earlier, that saying to them "well done" or "thank you" is it goes very well with this point.
So, if you look at sustainability overall around the world in the UA, it's growing momentum and general importance. What role do you think procurement can play in sustainability?
Procurement playing very important role in achieving sustainability, because for any organization it starts from their supply chain as a social impact, or it's going to be as environmental impact. So we choose from whom we buy, how we buy. That means we have the power to prioritize the sustainability over other things that we look into when we are buying something. So it goes maybe a very simple one. Maybe we can start with recycled paper. Yes, at the beginning you will see it's a very small thing, but no, it goes very huge impact. Or reducing the waste, reducing the paper, printed paper, everyone printing papers and keeping them on their desks. That if you start reducing all these small things, it gives at the longer run, it's gonna be a big impact for it. So procurement isn't just about money and buying the products, but it goes beyond that. It's making the right decision, choosing the and aligning with the company goals, and not only the company, but yes, with the government and the country goals, because currently sustainability is, I guess, it's a big word in this current years. Everyone have the focus
Yeah.
on it, so why not procurement then?
Exactly. Why not put it through procurement as well? It's not only with recycling. You see so many recycling centers in every single emirate in the UAE. When you go and buy coffee beans from any major retailer, you see at the back it's been sustainably sourced and grown. Even in major schools, you see from at a young age, even kids are taught to recycle, to have practices and habits. And I think that's an overall growth everywhere.
Yes, it goes. It's like it's a mindset change. So it starts with each individual needs to contribute to it. So it's not just governments who needs to impose these things and the companies needs to follow it. And no, it goes each individual person needs to have that responsibility, because if you can't do recycling, you can't do sustainability at your own home, so and then you can teach that to your kids as well.
Right.
So everyone is responsible here, I would say, and everyone is playing very important role in this sustainability as
So
well.
it's a collective joint effort by the entire society to make the goals go forward.
It's everyone needs to put hands together. We as humans are responsible of this, and I guess for the next 5 to 10 years, if everyone started taking the responsibility of being, I would say, representative, then yes, obviously we can achieve, and you can see the good results there.
Got it. Okay. So in procurement, every single dirham saved hits the bottom line. When you look at companies' performance and evaluation, there may be a lot of wastage. Do you see that happening, and how do you think companies can actually stop the leaks?
One of the area that I feel lots of companies are missing it is the contract overspend. It starts with very simple intention, good intention from and your stakeholder. Let's say it's been marketing department or it's IT department who came with something very small and they said, you know what, we need this urgently and we don't have the time to go to market for you to source it. So it started with very intentions were right, and it's as a user, being your stakeholder, you want to support them, and you went ahead. But then there is consequences behind that when it starts those demands getting increase and increase, and the spend which started, let's say, with 10,000, it might reach to 500,000, and it might reach to 1 million.
Million, yeah.
So I feel that it's very important for you to control this, because the leakage here that started with something very minimal, it could cause you lots of money, and it's very important for you to put some control over this.
And the thing is, it actually expands over time. If there's no proper tracker built, this 510,000, 20,000, it not only becomes a million, it keeps accumulating month on month, year on year. And when you look at the end of the year, you've realized you've spent so much. At least with my experience with big corporates, there's a set structure in place. You approach different vendors, you check everything before it's actually approved. What happens, even my experience working for startups, it's not only with marketing, when the different departments need something done, you're right, as a stakeholder, you have to kind of support. So big spends are done very quickly. It's not in the budget, it's not in the forecast. And then you realize at the end of the year, oh no, there's been so much spent, and then now there's probably a loss or huge expenses.
See, it's not about just negotiating the deals when it comes to a procurement individual. It goes beyond that. You need to make sure that you are managing your stakeholder in a right way. You need to speak their language. You need to add value to their requirements. You need to explain to them what the policy is and why it is there. It's very important for them to understand, and make it very user friendly. Don't make it very complicated for them, because they are not going to deal with procurement and daily life, right? So on daily basis. So as you are expert in it, we won't expect them to know that. So you need to make it very simplified to them and explain to them why it matters, because as we said, if there is a leakage that started with 1 dirham, it could reach 200,000 later on. So it's very important for you to buy in your stakeholders, and give them visibility on why the policy is there, and that policy is there to help them and stop these leakages later on.
And a person who's not an expert, who's a stakeholder from another department, would probably get very overwhelmed, not understanding. So these topics that you've said of trying to simplify things, explaining to the stakeholder, I think that's a very important and valid suggestion that companies should follow.
See, that's the difference between a procurement professional person and between procurement buyer. Buyer is just someone who's there, who just sits and wait for the stakeholder to come and say, get me this. He will take it, he will just forward it to them. And if he didn't understand, he will just forward him that 50, 60 page of policy.
Yeah.
And he will say, just read it. The policy is there, you can read it and refer to it. I'm not processing your request until you read that and come back and fix it. That's not how the procurement should be. We are not a police who is waiting for someone who did a fine, for example, and you'll be punished on it. We are not here to do that. We are here to, as you rightly said, I need to support, for example, if it's a marketing department or if it's an HR who came for some training requirement, I need to be their partner. I need to be their partner, because at the end we are all working for same organization.
Right.
I'm not here to be a showstopper for you, because it's I shouldn't be saying as a procurement person, what's in it for me. We are all working for same organization. We are all going there. So I need to help them so that they do their job, and then at the end it's gonna benefit the organization and we grow together.
I think that's a very interesting perspective that a lot of people forget, that everyone is in it together. It's one goal for the company to strive and move forward, and procurement or any other department is there as a partner to help and
Ex-
actually grow.
exactly. Yes, yes. And you rightly said that everyone needs to stand and take that, that everyone do your responsibility. And when it comes to if someone is not understanding what does it mean, you need to explain to them and simplify it for them. Another really important point I would say that procurement can add here is when you add value to the requirement. So if someone is coming to you and you don't understand what they want, obviously he's not gonna come to you next time. He'll say this guy is gonna just be a showstopper for me,
Right.
and why I should go to procurement? And that's where the leakage starts, and the organization start bleeding the money because everyone's seeing the routes, or they're just finding plan B to avoid coming to procurement because they don't like working with them. And I hear that a lot, and as being a professional in procurement for the last 19 years, I heard a lot that every first impression is always that, oh, I need to work with procurement on this. But when they see that you add value to their requirement, they came to you for something, and instead of giving them that, let's say, one quantity that they requested for, you give them that one quantity plus additional some
Value add.
rights in the contract, or the right quality they were expecting. They will see that, oh, he added value. Or when you go back to them and say, okay, instead of doing this, why we don't do this? This will give you better supplier, this will give you better price, and this is going to benefit you over a long run. They will say, okay, this guy understand what he's talking about and he's benefiting me. Obviously, next time when they just get up in the morning and they have some idea in their mind, they want to buy something, they were the first person they're going to call you.
Exactly. I think it's a change in mindset. When they approach procurement, maybe they have a different mindset, but after interacting, like you said, with the procurement professional, then their mindset would change and they'll be like, oh, I actually got a lot of value. The next time, if I want to do a procurement or a purchase, I'll actively engage with the department and then I'll get more value out of it.
Yes, that's why it's very important for you as individual in procurement to be a procurement professional individual, not just a buyer who's just getting the codes, forwarding it to the business, or who's just receiving the inquiries and just forwarding to the stakeholders and saying, "You requested for this, I got you this." And that everyone can just go and do it, and they
Mhm.
would rather do it through a robot than
Yeah.
rather than just dealing with a human being.
Now that you've been involved in the startup world, when we see startups grow, they usually prioritize hiring employees, finding a location, trying to build revenue, and they have this mindset that procurement is probably the last function that they end up building, but it actually costs them in the long run. What's a good case that you can explain to actually prioritize procurement from the beginning?
I would say it's not just the startup who's not prioritizing procurement. It's the culture, or the how the market is in this region. They don't look into procurement as really valued department who can benefit the organization. Because I remember in my earlier career life when I started as a procurement, when my friends used to ask me like, "What you do?" So like, I'm procurement. I'm like, what does that mean? And for us in UAE as a culture, the procurement was not even there as a field for you to study it. Now, yes, they are universities and they are institutes who give you certificate, and procurement SIPS is one of them. So it changed drastically. But I would say yes, when it comes to startup, it's very important for you to keep in your organization chart procurement there. Why? Because you remember when we said that it starts with one dirham leakage. So imagine
Yeah.
if a startup is spending 1 million on their office setup, on their IT equipments, on their marketing budget, on their any assets that comes to as a fit out, or any as facility management for office that you're gonna need. If they're spending 1 million, and that every individual in that startup is doing the thing by his own, he's ordering it either online, or he's going to a friend, or a shop next to his
Mm.
house. He's just gonna get the requirement from there, and he bring us next day to the office. So that 1 million spend, there is at least 10 to 15% as a leakage there. So that's straight up 150,000 loss that goes and hit the startup at the end of the first financial year. So imagine if that startup is spending as on a scale of 10 million.
Right.
That's just straight up
It
to,
scales up. Yeah.
it's not small amount there. So, and again, I'm not saying that it's just because of financial. No, it's very important to you for you to have a procurement as a on your organization when you are gonna be a startup, because procurement is gonna help you to avoid the risky suppliers. It's going to avoid you that you don't know where your spend is going, so that, as we said, even if it's just a simple spreadsheet, you're asking your procurement department to track it for you. They're going to negotiate better for you. And last and one important point is that they're going to negotiate the contract for you, and that's going to benefit for you, because I have faced it so many times where the stakeholder comes to me and then they were like, you know what, we ordered this from this vendor and we engaged with this vendor, and now we are not in a position to cancel it or terminate the agreement. I said, why? But they're like, the contract doesn't give me the right to do that. So that happens when you go and you approach the market yourself, because you just want to avoid going to the procurement specialist, as we say, procurement professional person, and that's gonna impact you very hard, and it accumulates. So that leakage is not gonna stop until you do all these controls when it comes to place through a procurement department.
I think it's more of the plan B that we were saying. When there's hesitancy with stakeholders, they don't approach procurement directly. They'll go to the market on their own. They sign a contract without getting it checked by procurement. And then once they're done, they go back to you and say, oh, now it's done. What do I do? There's not that much at that point that can be done because they didn't engage with procurement in the beginning, which they should have.
I always say to the stakeholders that have been working with that, think of procurement. Usually, the procurement cycle, there is a procurement cycle that starts step one, step two, you define your requirements, go to the market. For me, usually that cycle starts with step zero. Step
Step
zero
zero.
is you woke up in the morning, as I said, you want something. Today, you need to get this done. Step zero is approach me as a procurement person. I'm going to help you. I'm going to think with you together that how we are going to get this thing done for you. I'm not being there to be as a showstopper. Again, I'm saying, and I'm not going to punish you because you're going to do this. That happens. Again, we are going to the point where procurement individual is not professional enough, or he's not speaking the language to add value to your requirement. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Then they're gonna go for plan B. They're gonna sign the contract, and they're gonna end up with someone who's not qualified enough for them to serve them. So adding value to the requirement of your stakeholders, building that trust with your stakeholders, is gonna always take you to that step zero, where then these situations not gonna be later on. It comes up.
Got it. So start with the step zero. And I always think about the same thing, that if something is not done right from the beginning, then it's very difficult to fix later on. It magnifies more, more, more. So why not just get it right from the step zero?
As individuals of procurement department, I guess most people who would agree with me that they're being approached always at late stage, when there
Yeah.
is already fire happened and then they're coming to you, or when there is a requirement. For example, let's say it's in 2 days, the event is happening, and then the marketing person is coming to you, and obviously the same excuse that, yeah, we got the
Yeah.
management approval just now, and I'm coming to you, so you need to help me and sort this for me, otherwise I will be in trouble. So uh, as you rightly said, that when things goes wrong, then you're coming to me and to help you. For me, I wouldn't be that kind of person who say you did it wrong, you find your way to fix it. No, as I said, I love to work with my stakeholders. I build that trust with them. I'll be happy to support you, but how much of that damage we can you fix? It will not be the same way when you came to me when it was step zero.
Yeah.
It will be probably, yes, we were able to fix it, we were able to put the fire down, but we lost, let's say, 60% of it, and we could manage just to fix 40 or 30% maximum.
So procurement isn't just about policies and paperwork. It's about working with people and building trust. How do you think that can happen?
See, we talk about stakeholder management, right? So you need to make sure that you involve them in each step of that when you're taking decisions. So it's not just you will take decision and then you'll say to them that, yes, we appointed as vendor. Here you go. This is a contract. Let's work with them. That doesn't go. Why? Because for finance guy, money, he needs to make sure that money is saved. For a legal guy, he needs to make sure all those risk, compliance, and regulations are met, right? So for marketing person, he needs to make sure the brand image of the organization and copyrights and all these things are met. So everyone is doing his job. So when you come and you will impose something on them, then you are not achieving the goal. So this is how I said, you need to add value to their requirement. So you need to show them that you all are working for the same organization. You're not there to stop the requirements, but you're there to process it and take decision along with them. Each step they're important, and each individual is contributing to it, and that's how procurement person is achieving what is required from him. It's not just because it's your job, no, but because it's the organization you guys are work for, and that you should work together hand in hand.
I keep hearing this very common theme of adding value beyond the job description. Now that I think of it, I think it's not only with procurement, it's with any department that's doing a job with your other stakeholders. I think the overall aim should be to do beyond your day to day and just try to add value overall with whatever department you're part of.
Absolutely, because I guess as a human nature, and some of the people who have this as a personality, they are used to say, as we said earlier, what's in it for me? Or he will say, this is not my thing, this is your thing, you should be doing it. So as individuals, as humans, yes, we intend to say that a lot. So for me, I would say that no, it's not the right way how you should be doing it, because at the end we as individuals, me, you, guy from finance, guy from legal, guy from marketing, everyone, at the end we're working for same organization. So what's the point of having those kind of arguments, or having those kind of fights, or having those kind of troubles, uh, and then at the end everyone is gonna say, this is not my job, I'm not gonna do it, and then the thing goes collapse. But who's getting impacted then? It's the organization, and as individuals we will be impacted because we all work for that organization.
If everyone says it's not my job, then nothing gets done. So everyone has to roll up their sleeves, like you said, and work together to build the organization up.
Going extra and beyond and adding value, that's as individual, when you're becoming a person who will never say it's not my job and I'm not doing it. Because I see that if someone is going to ask you a question, and I say this a lot to the people that I've been managing in the past, and I've worked with, that if someone asks you a question and if you don't know answer to it, so saying, sorry, I don't know the answer to this, I will check and get back to you, that's an answer.
Yes.
That's an answer. But if someone is asking you a question and you're gonna say that, I'm not managing this, I don't know, so you go and figure it yourself,
That's not right.
that's
Yeah.
not the answer, right? So that's where you are adding value, and that's how you build trust with people, and you make them partner with you. um, it just goes beyond what individual will think of simple way why I should take that headache. Oh, okay, it's simple way just to say, it's not me, you can check with someone else.
Now we move to the 60-second section. Under a minute, if someone wanted to enter the procurement field and dominate and be the best in the world, what do you think are the skill or mindsets that they need to achieve?
I would simplify it, in, as I said it earlier, in three ways. One is build a trust with your stakeholder and know how to manage them. Second is add value to their requirement. And third is that you need to build that knowledge around your job, so that when someone is coming to you, you know what you're saying and what you're buying as a person in a procurement bar.
Thank you so much, Abdulhadi. That was such a fun, engaging conversation about procurement. We learned so much. We learned about adding value, about being a great manager, and changing and expanding the role of not only procurement, of the overall alignment with the company. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll definitely do it again.
Thank you.